Hey, what's good, guys? Welcome back to WearTesters Unlaced episode 7, right?
Yeah.
And my name is Chris.
And I'm Jodi.
And yeah, we're just going to get right into it just because, well, we took a week off because we were traveling.
We did. We went to Utah.
We did. First time in Utah. I've been through Utah, but not like stayed there.
He's been to the airport.
You're right.
I've been to the airport up in Salt Lake.
Yes. So yeah, but we have family over there, her sister's there, and our niece and nephew. So we went up there to hang out with them for a few days for our son's birthday. That was his request. And it was his first time flying, or actually both of our kids' first time flying. Our daughter loved it. Our son was scared shitless until we were finally in the air. Actually, one of the flight attendant on the way back, like he was a fan.
Oh, yeah.
And like watch the channel. So big thank you to you for supporting. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so I kind of wanted to talk about Utah a little bit, but I didn't know if we wanted to, just to take too much time up. But basically all I'll say is like Utah is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. That was a big quote. Is this even real?
There were certain parts, dude, I swear to you, where like...
Do you see the haze?
Yeah, like it looked like a painting, like in the background. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was in like Cars Land.
Radiator Springs.
Yeah, like it didn't feel real to me. Like it felt so majestic, I guess. And yeah, it was just so weird that rock could look that cool, because like rock, like, you know, around here, like we see hills and mountains and stuff. We're not like away from like, you know, nature and stuff. It's just that
we're surrounded by hills and mountains. We live in the valley.
Right. And even when we were in the Bay Area, like
we're still in the valley.
Yeah, it was the same thing. And like, you know, the beach and all that stuff. So it's not like we're like out of touch with things. It's just that I've never seen nothing like that.
He's never seen red rocks.
Right. Like I've been to Yosemite plenty of times, and I've seen like Half Dome and this, that, and the other, and they're like regular rocks. Like they're just big rocks. Mm-hmm. But it was like a weird cascade, you know, like
there was levels, gradients.
Yes, and the textures and the different colors in it, and all just, I don't know, man, it was just weird. So
we went to Zion.
Oh yeah, we did that. We went to Mount Zion. We didn't go into the park.
I think it was Springdale.
I don't know. Yeah, we went to the part right before it.
Yeah,
so
we could see all of Zion.
Yes, but yeah, it was just it was a fun little trip. I enjoyed myself, and yeah. Anything else?
No, I want to get into sneaker news because I actually have something to say.
Do you know what we're talking about?
I have my own little topic that I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, really?
It came to me while we were filming other videos earlier today.
Okay. Well, here we go. We're jumping into sneaker news. I only really had two things.
Okay. Did you want to go first?
I guess. Like nothing really like jumped out at me as far as like being interesting.
This one like hit me in the face.
Okay. Well, I'll go quick then. The first thing, the GT line is going to get a takedown. And yeah, it looks like the GT Cut 3, but it's obviously not, you know, like it doesn't have all the, like I think that shoe, that's something that I wish that we talked about last week, but we didn't have a podcast. But the GT Cut 3 is going to have Zoom X in it, which has not been in a basketball shoe. We've been waiting to see if like they would ever make that transition.
Oh, from running?
Yeah, because that's like that's the super shoe stuff, you know what I mean? And so like that's going to be really interesting. But the GT Cut, or what the hell is it called? The Academy or something like that. Whatever the takedown version of it is, it's real minimal. It's almost like it could have been like just part of the regular line. You know what I mean? Like called it the what was the new one where it's not the
Hustle?
Run? Is that what it was? Yeah, like they changed the name from the Run.
I'm pretty sure I used that song in the intro for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like it could have been that shoe. You know what I mean? But basically, this is a Zoom Air version instead of a Zoom X version, and it's going to be a little bit cheaper retail wise. I think it's like $95, something like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So anything sub 100, I'm a big fan of, so long as there's good tech in it. I hope that it's a regular 4-foot zoom unit or a zoom strobel or something, and not like that little hex thing that they'll like do, like what they were doing with the Kyrie stuff.
Like,
you know?
why even bother?
Why bother? Like,
just give a really good foam at that point.
Exactly. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, are you like stupid? Like what made you do that instead of what you could do?
It was so they could engrave it on the side of the shoe.
I guess. But yeah, so I hope that it's like decent tech. We don't know what style of zoom it is, but so far the concept or the idea, I'm all for it. What is your topic? Your topic that you're going to go over? Because mine was going to be a lengthy one.
So we filmed the Cherry Jordan 12s. and you had turned it around to show off your favorite feature.
The booty?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And the 23 was like right there in my face. And I kind of went, wait a minute, we are in the year 2023. We're about to wrap it up. Do you feel like Jordan Brand capitalized on, like, they could have really done something here where they're like, we are the 23, we're in the year 2023? Do you feel like, I mean, you did talk about how you're finally getting your Wheat 13s, you're finally getting these Jordan 12s that you've been wanting, so like, is that enough? Were there enough big Jordan products to celebrate this year? Like, do you even think like anybody thought of this? Because I mean, it took me all the way into October to think about it.
Well, first off, that's their job. So they have guys there, or girls, just people, where your job is to make sure that anniversaries are met.
Yes.
That dates are recognized, that things are done in that way, where it's celebratory, but also that there's new stuff coming. Because it's pretty much a retro brand now. Like, I think we can all agree to that, right? Like, it's a heritage brand.
What?
I know. So yeah, it's no longer like the pinnacle of performance. They are a retro brand. They're a throwback brand. They're not innovative anymore. So, and this is not a shots fired thing. This is what you do. Like, either own it or keep lying. It's up to you. You're lying to yourself anyways. Yeah, so like, do I feel that they could have or should have been bigger this year? Now that you bring it up, because I didn't even think about it either. I'm not an anniversary person. Like, you know this. Like, I understand it as far as like a benchmark goes. Like, hey, I quit smoking. But even then, I don't even know what day that was for me. You know what I mean? I used to smoke cigarettes, if you guys don't know. I had smoked them from high school all the way until our son was born. And on and off.
Yeah.
I tried to quit many times, but it's really addicting. And so I would not recommend trying it. But yeah, so like, that's one of those things where like, if you're an alcoholic, like, you always get your chips and stuff like that. And or if you're in like a recovery program for drugs, you get your, I think that you get a similar thing where like you get like a little token. But yeah, so like, that to me would be like oh, you know what I mean? Or whatever. But even then, I don't even want to think about it. Like, it's not even something that I think about as far as like celebrating goes. So yeah, so do I think that it's necessary?
Well,
Simply
obviously it's
no.
not necessary. I'm just saying, like, you literally turn the shoe around. There's 23. Like,
Right.
This is your number. This is what your brand has been built on, is this man and this number.
Yeah, and when you say it like that, then yeah, sure, they could have definitely done more. But I mean, I honestly, I don't know. Because like nothing's come out really this year that I've been so excited about, except for the White Cement 3. Was the Lost and Found like last year, or was it this year?
You know, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I can't remember. But that shoe, the 3s, I think the 4s come out next year. The reimagined 4s, the black and reds, or black cements. So I don't think that would count. And then, like you were saying, the white red 12 and the wheat 13s. Those are like the only ones where I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Like, these shoes are like some of my favorites ever in those respective colorways. And same thing with the 3. Like, that's, I don't know how else to say it. I just absolutely love those shoes. So for me, there's nothing been really exciting. You know what I mean? The flagship shoe, I do get excited about. I just get excited about seeing it and stuff like that. Whether it sucks or not doesn't really matter. I'm just excited that there's a new one. It doesn't mean that I'm not critical. It's just that I like that they're still doing it. Just because that's what the brand is. That's what the brand is built on. Like, some people say, like, you should have stopped at 23. And I'm like, dude, the brand wouldn't be a brand if it wasn't for his flagship line. Like, that's what the whole thing is made off of. So like, you have to keep that going.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, why didn't you drop the 23?
There is a 23, but it was overseas.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's silly.
I know.
There's people over here too.
I know. That's the thing. I really hate that they do the exclusive thing. Like the regional exclusive and stuff, because like when they used to do regional exclusives,
I understand that with colors.
Well, the thing though is that when it used to be regional exclusives, it was every region got an exclusive, not you get an exclusive and the rest of you. You know what I mean? Like,
why do you do that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gosh.
My bad. Yeah. So like, that was, you know what I'm saying? Like the 20s, like every region got the 19 SEs got every region got their colorway and stuff, and I think that that's really cool. It's when you make it like, oh, this is an overseas exclusive only, all Americans can't get it. And it's just like, we built your brand though. Like, our consumerism here, the capitalism here, built our money made you. You know what I'm saying? So like, why would you take product away from them? But at the same token, like, unless you were there, like when the 23s launched, most of these current sneakerheads don't give a about that shoe.
And I understand that. There's like no real want or anything past. And I know that I'm reaching here is probably like past the 18. And even then, those are
you're
small.
Way reaching.
No, I know. That's like a small, like that's a niche.
The general Jordan consumer won't go past 13 or 14
I understand
max.
that. But there are some people who do get excited
Real Jordan fans.
when you pull those out.
Like me. I, despite how weird they look sometimes, I still really love like every pair. You know, the 19s included. One of the greatest. If you've never played in a pair, I get that you don't get it. But it's a great basketball shoe.
I'm just saying, I never hear anybody mention really from 19 on.
I agree. I think the 20 though is slept on. 21s as well. Those two are like great looking shoes in the later line. But again, a lot of these current sneakerheads, I think that's maybe the problem with the brand, is that they don't know their audience anymore. They all that up, like Nike included, where they have an audience that built the brand, then they shifted focus to hype and collab, and then they shifted focus again to exclusivity to really cater towards resale. At the end of the day is what it did. Whether that was their intention or not doesn't matter. That's what happened. So you have those three sectors, and they've ignored the OG fans. They started just oversaturating the collab side, and nothing's truly limited anymore except for when it very occasionally is. On top of that, everything is not worth anything, and so now the resellers are gone too. So now they're kind of like, well, who's our audience? And it's just like, dude, I told you about this like so many times, and you just thought that you were so big that you couldn't fall. You know what I mean? And it's just like, nah, man, like everybody can get knocked down to their knees. Like Mike Tyson always said, like everybody got a plan until you get punched in the face. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't know what to tell you outside of like you yourself. So as far as like, did they do enough? I think they should pull back. They need to scale back. You know what I'm saying? Like when the Wheat 13s would come out like that, there was a retro once every few months, you know, once every month if it was like consistent. One, maybe two. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a lot. And so you had something to look forward to, and you had something to save up towards, and you had time to prepare and, you know, be excited. You don't have any time to be excited anymore.
The shoe industry is very much like
TikTok.
Yes, but
your
like
attention span is that fast.
No, but so they call it fast fashion. The places like Shein, and there's all kinds of Fashion Nova. Like, it's all very cheaply made.
Yeah.
Except that's where it does differ, where like these shoes are not cheap for the consumers to purchase. Yes, they're cheaply made, but they cost a lot for us.
Right.
Versus these clothing items where, yeah, I'll spend $10 on this top that I'm probably only going to wear once or twice before it falls apart, you know, kind of thing. So
that's a different topic.
Yes.
Because me and you are different in that sense. I won't buy that $10 top. I'll save up for the $150 one.
No, I know. What I'm saying, though, is they're putting out at the same pace.
I get it, yeah.
Like all of these shoes, but it costs way more than all of these tops that cost like almost nothing. Like, it's tissue.
Yeah.
Anyways, did you like my topic?
Oh, I think it's, I could sit here and talk about it all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's something that's very layered, especially when we're talking about like just Jordan brand. Like, there's not even just one category anymore for them themselves. There is the ones, then there's retro, and then there's lifestyle, then there's new product, there's team/new signature, then flagship. Like, there's multiple facets to just them. And I think they've spread themselves too thin. It's kind of like the Marvel thing. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, there's too many shows, there's too many movies, not enough focus on any one. It's the same thing. There's one budget for each of those categories, or there's a budget for each category, and then there's multiple shoes under each of those. So your budget is getting spread that thin. So like your Jordan 1s, for example, count how many they've released like once a month. for the OG high, multiples of the low, the mid. There's some other ones too, like all the random, like weird ones with the wedges and all the, you know what I mean? Like all the different ones. So you got that one budget spread across all them Jordan ones. So that's why sometimes you get a one that's like complete ass and you're like, bro, what happened there? There wasn't budget for it. You know what I mean? But then this one, like those Royals, the reimagined Royals, buttery ass materials, all this stuff, they put most of the budget in there. So like, it's just one of those things where like, you can't spread yourself like that and expect you to come like with quality every time. Versus back in the day, you'd have a few drops all year. And so your budget was really focused and allocated, plus the attention to detail and all that stuff for these shoes. And so it was just it was just managed better, you know? And so now I think that they just got so big so fast. And on top of that, now they're taking hits with like slow retail, slow moving product and all of that stuff where like now they're like scrambling, being like, oh, now what are we gonna do? So my other topic for sneaker news was gonna be the whole Reebok thing where Shaq, and did you not hear about this?
What did Shaq do?
And Allen Iverson.
Oh yeah, they went
I talked to you about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so Reebok on the basketball side went and appointed Shaquille O'Neal as president of basketball operations. And then I don't remember Allen Iverson's role. It was something about like recruitment, but essentially those two are in charge of Reebok basketball at this point. And everybody is excited about it. Or I wouldn't say everybody, but just fans of the brand and stuff like that are excited about it. And then a lot of other people are kind of being like, hey, like, what is this going to mean? A lot of people have been tagging me in it, and I'm not excited. Surprising enough, because you'd think that I would be, you know what I mean? But it's not because I know the two of these guys personally. Like, I'm big fans of them as basketball players. Obviously, like Allen Iverson's one of my idols. Like, he's one of the reasons of the 2303. Like, he's the 3 in that aspect. I really tried to play not like him, but like play with that type of heart where like I'd play. You'd knock my ass down, I'd get right up. You'd break me, I'd get right back up. I'd keep playing no matter what, you know what I mean? Like, he was my guy. I love his shoes, you know what I'm saying? At least the first chunk of them. The Reebok Question is one of my favorites of all time. But both of these players, though, which this is not a dig or anything like that, or disrespect towards them, because this is most athletes or endorsees of anything, where they're getting paid to wear the product. It's well documented that both of them don't really give a like what the product is. You pay them, they'll wear it. They'll perform in it. They'll do their thing. Like, we know that Shaq left Reebok and started his own brand with the Payless and the Walmart stuff. He wore them, which is super respectable. I love it. But are they like the best shoes ever? You know what I'm saying? And the answer is no. And then he went over to like Li Ning, like later in his career, and just kind of getting a paycheck, you know what I'm saying? And he just wore whatever. It was the same thing with Iverson, where like, oh, the Question's like, it's a great shoe, I love it, it's my signature, I'm gonna hoop in it. And then like he started complaining, being like, oh, they're making my toes bleed. So they rechange it in the middle of the run, which is like rare. And then it was the same thing with every shoe. Like, that Answer 1 is, first off, one of my favorite shoes look-wise. One of the worst shoes to play in. And his later line, speaking of Iverson, was review-wise, like based off of like what Professor K would say, some of the worst shoes ever. And these guys just played in them because they got paid, they're hoopers, they get buckets. Like, you put him in Tim's and he's gonna cross your ass over, you know what I mean? You put Shaq in Tim's, he's still gonna be Shaq. Like, you can't stop him. So in that sense, am I excited? No. What do these guys know about footwear besides that they wear it every day? They don't know anything about developing or testing or making sure it's perfect before it comes out. They don't know these things. And so we had this already with Reebok and with other brands and stuff, where they like appoint this person or that person and all this stuff, and everybody's like, oh man, they're gonna fix the brand, and it never works out like that. So like, that's my main thing, is that I'm very pessimistic about it, or I would say very cautiously optimistic, only because the two of them have vested interests where the better the brand does, the better their paychecks will be.
Yeah.
So that's where I do get like, oh, maybe. But are they going to get the right people to make it happen? Because they're already, I'll tell you, not the right people. And I don't mean that in the sense of like they can't do what their jobs are. Like I believe that they can. It's just that I don't believe that they know enough about footwear in the nerd sense. And that's the part that like a lot of sneakerheads or hoopers, or when they cross paths, like that diagram is like crossed like this.
The Venn diagram.
Yeah, well, like the overlap. A lot of people don't understand that you have to be all of it. Like you have to be a nerd about it, but you also have to be able to hoop. You know what I mean? You have to be able to articulate yourself so that you can explain what's happening. You have to be able to feel everything in your body so that you know when you go and write that report or give that review or fill out your wear test sheet that you're giving the best advice and experience that you had in a way to where the developers who don't usually hoop can take that feedback and be like, okay, this is where we're going to tweak here. This is what we're going to do there, this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And so it's like, can they do that? No. Can they get the people that can do that? I hope so. You know what I mean? So like, that's the only thing that like, I'm a little bit weary being like, I've seen this before. Is it going to do anything? Or is it just for a quick like news bite? You know what I mean? Like we're like, oh, Reebok was trending for a minute because this news and stuff like that. And so, but is it going to make a difference? You know what I mean? Is Reebok going to be back? Like a lot of people thought that when Shaq's company bought Reebok, they're like, oh, Reebok's back. Nothing's changed, guys. Nothing. All it is that they split from Adidas. Mm-hmm. They still use the same distribution warehouse to fulfill orders. It still says Adidas on your tracking.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like that when you buy a Reebok. You know what I mean?
They should update that.
They need to move out of there. They got to get their own distribution center. So it's like stuff like that where it's like, oh, bro, I'm not excited about this. You know what I mean? Like I think that it's a cool news bite that makes you newsworthy for 5 seconds. But is it going to bring Reebok back to what it used to be in the 80s where they were number one? And I'm not joking. It's a fact. You can go look it up. They were number one in sales. Them and Adidas were the top two. Nike was nothing until they signed Jordan. You know what I mean? As of right now, I think it sounds good, but I think it sounds better than what it actually can be, unless they hire people that actually know what they're doing. And I'm not talking about me. I'm not trying to go there because there's lots of red tape and I don't want to deal with that stuff. So whoever has like the mental ability or capability of like dealing with that and like being able to deal with that type of like internal politic between like the higher ups and who's in charge of the budget and this, that, whoever can deal with that and knows their footwear and be able to develop good product, I hope that they find that person.
Whoever fits inside of that Venn diagram.
Whoever that is, yeah, I hope that they can find them and I hope that they hire them. Now, as far as the shoes we didn't review, we only have one, and it's these guys right here. Ooh, these are the, I almost dropped them for those of you guys that can't see things and are just listening. But these are the New Balance Two Wxy V4. So this is the fourth iteration of the Two Wxy line.
They look like something I've seen before.
They look a little bit like those Zions.
Yes,
the Zion
thank you
ones.
for being on the nose there.
Yeah, the half black, half white thing, or color blocking.
Well, and how they had done a Z, this is just an N, which is basically a Z on, you know, flipped.
Right. Yeah, so they actually sent these over, so thank you to the good folks over at New Balance. The reason why I didn't get around to a review is just because they sent them late. I don't know if it was necessarily their fault, because all of our team members got their pairs way on time / early. And for whatever reason, whenever everybody gets stuff, like I always get it last. I don't know if it's because we're in California. Maybe things are coming from the East Coast and they're just like going this way, and California's last. I'm not sure.
They were taking the scenic route,
I guess. But either way, by the time that they got to our house, it was just, I had other that I had to get done first, and that was already in the queue.
Did both Alan and Jackson get these?
I think Jackson got them. So like he got them like a week ahead of me. Like,
okay.
That's what I mean by like, I don't know.
He is in the Midwest, I believe.
Yeah, but still, like it's just one of those things where it's like, how did it get that? Because like you could pay for like 2-day shipping. So I just don't get it. But you know, whatever. Either way, here's the shoe. Do I think that they're fantastic or anything? No. They actually fit weird. Like they fit snug, but kind of long, but not long enough to go down half a size, just long enough to be annoying. So I don't know. I do know that this outsole looks badass. So like that's one thing it got going for it. The traction looks great. The cushion though is interesting. It's fuel cell, and I mean it still just doesn't feel like fuel cell. It still feels very firm. It feels softer than previous releases, but
well, it
still
also
firm.
says Fresh X foam.
Yeah, so it's fresh foam and fuel cell.
So it's a dual.
It's a dual setup. It's very interesting because it's dual in weird ways. So like the black foam is one, and then the white, and it's alternating too. So like it's very weird, and you can feel it, like where like the black foam's a little softer and then the white foam's a little firmer, and so you got like a weird kind of like dichotomy between like your heel, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel consistent left to right. But yeah, the only other thing though is that they're really high, like off the ground.
You want some height? Go pick yourself up the 2A4.
Yeah, V4. Like you'll get like at least an inch of height on, like that's how far off the floor you are.
It's very much like an Air Max.
Yes, like you're lifted off the floor a little bit. I don't love that. I don't think it's bad. I just personally don't love it. And as far as like materials, it's okay. It's textile. It is what it is. The leather's synthetic. Am I bummed about that? Yes and no. The only thing is like when I say like, oh, as long as it looks like leather, I'm happy, which it does. So I'm happy with that. It's just the New Balance name, like the brand with me. Like I really do hold that brand to a really high standard, only because they do it to themselves. And they're top-notch quality usually. You know what I mean? Like their suede is butter. Their leather is butter. Like, so when they don't do that, I'm always kind of like, bro, what the like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. It's like how I like will be a little hard on the 550, because it's like you know that's not a basketball shoe. So like, I mean, it used to be, but like it's not being worn that way anymore. So like, why is the leather so bad? Just why?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's my only like critique or whatever. Outside of that, they feel okay. I don't know if I would want to play in these though, just because of the stack height. It's just too far off the floor.
And if the fit is off for you.
That's
just
yeah, that's always something that's like you could get around it, but I don't love it. You know what I mean? So I really love this outsole. This outsole is killer. So yeah, so I have nothing but confidence with this side. If you're in the market for a new insole or orthotic, then we'd recommend checking out the products from today's sponsor, Move. Move offers 3 different insole options. The Game Day is perfect for those with a normal or neutral arch that want a little extra support underfoot, along with a little extra cushioning. The Game Day Pro is for those that have a high arch and or those that prefer a more substantial torsion system within their footwear. This is the insole that we'd recommend if you're a taller athlete or a professional athlete. The Move All Day is a polyurethane-based insole that features a neutral arch plate, perfect for everyday wear. The polyurethane offers a bit of extra bounce with each step and can transform the comfort level of your daily retro sneakers up a few notches. If you are interested in checking out any of the insoles Move has to offer, then you can head over to www.move.one and check out all the items that are available. I guess we can't move on yet. There's a breaking sneaker news.
Oh, so we're backtracking, eh?
Yeah, we're moving back. At least this happened while we were filming and I caught it. Joel Embiid is reportedly nearing an endorsement deal with Skechers.
So did he leave Under Armour?
He's apparently leaving Under Armour. I guess he's not happy. After one failed signature shoe, that can happen.
They never gave him a second one.
The first one tanked with
I'm
sales.
just saying, that was like the beginning of 2020 was when we went out.
And you know how many people bought those?
We worked so hard.
I know, but nobody bought them, man. Nobody bought that shoe, dude. It was a good shoe. But yeah, nobody bought them. Apparently he's not as patient as Stephen Curry. And so he's out of there.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not a done deal yet, but it's reportedly being. When we talk about are you excited or are you optimistic about something, the Skechers thing, I forgot to talk about that. I wanted to talk about that last week too, where there's a Skechers basketball shoe now.
Okay.
I'm not going to say I'm excited. I'm just saying I'm interested.
The basketball shoe is already out, or he could be the face of this basketball shoe?
So I think it's Randall's wearing them first or currently, and then that was what like everybody's like, what the this guy, and he's in the NBA, so it's like this guy is wearing a Skechers basketball shoe. Like, you know, Skechers didn't make basketball shoes outside of like the kids stuff. I guess the best way for me to describe my curiosity would be morbidly curious. You know, not in the literal sense, but in the sense of like, can Skechers do this? You know what I mean? Like, I just want to know, like, is the shoe good? And I think that there's a lot of other people that would be just as morbidly curious about it. You know what I'm saying? So like, I know that there's lots of people that are like, Skechers or Walmart shoes or this, and you know, the snobby kind of sneakerheads. Call those people. The people that are interested in performance, those are the people that are like, ooh, this is weird. I want to see what this is about. It kind of reminds me of when Skechers entered the running landscape.
Yes.
And people didn't take them seriously, and then all of a sudden runners were wear testing the shoe, and they were like, what the these are legit.
Yeah.
Like they were like they were some of the highest rated runners of their years.
As someone who spent 15 years running, and when I would start like in the groups and everything, most of them want to get as far away from Nike as possible because of how amongst runners Nike is, they fit not great. Like it's really rare that you find one that works. And so like I can totally see them being like, yeah, I'm gonna try out Skechers and fully diving into it. I mean, hello, Hoka, like you see Hokas and nobody goes, that's a good looking shoe, but so many runners love them. Right.
And that's pretty much what it is on the basketball side. We're talking about performance. We're not talking about you and your pants.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm going to go to the club. Like, no, like that's not what a basketball shoe is for, guys. Like, it's for basketball. So I get it that there are some shoes like Jordans and stuff like that can do the Venn diagram thing and like look good on and off and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a basketball shoe. Does it perform? And is it affordable? Like, that's what I really want to know. How much is this shoe going to cost? And how good can it be? Timeout! All right, guys, so now it's time to take a timeout from sneakers, basketball, all of that stuff. It's time to go back to what was fun when we were children, which was damn near anything, but, you know, toys, cartoons, comics, stuff like that. I freaking left my comics out there. I just got these new ones. There's a new G.I. Joe comic. There's 2 issue ones so far. I don't know if they're out yet, but one has a foily cover with Cobra Commander. The other one had Duke on it, and it was not a foil cover. And it's still with Arun sent them over, which I talked about last time. He's over at Skybound and everything. I don't know if it's the same authors. But anyways, there's new G.I. Joe comics in case you didn't know. So that was cool. Speaking of Joes.
This is what Chris did in Utah.
Nico was talking about oh, they only have one comic shop. It's over in St. George, and he doesn't get to go to it often. And I was just like, well, we can go. You know what I mean? So we went. I really wanted to get him the Long Halloween series. I think that it's one of the best Batmans, between that and Dark Victory, which is, they're part of the same 3-part series, but they're just so much fun, and it's such an interesting retelling, and the artwork is so crazy, and you know what I mean? The Tim Sale stuff, with the really long and dark stuff, you remember?
I don't want to give away things if people want to get into it, but is it with the Calendar Man?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so good.
Is Terry in it?
No, that's the future stuff. That's the Dark Knight Returns stuff.
Okay, I read all of those
I know.
That one summer at work, so they're all kind of intermingled for me.
Oh no, they're like that in my brain too. Either way, I wanted to grab them a bunch of stuff, and I didn't. I started off simple, and I was just like, hey, if you want to get into Batman, here's year 1. It's an Elseworlds, but it's still an original, or not original, but a canonized type of origin for him. And then I got him Robin year 1 too. Not as good, but still good. So yeah, so those were the books that I got him, but I got me some Joes. So I got this guy right here. He was only $10, which sounds expensive for a toy that originally retailed for $4.99 or $3.99 back in the 80s.
And it's a custom.
Well, so that's the thing, is that it's technically a custom because the bottom half of them is from Storm Shadow, but the top of them is Quick Kick. And that was the part, they were in these plastic card cases, and they were sitting there stacked up like this. I couldn't read the sticker label to see what the prices were. They had this really awesome Cobra Commander, and it was a mail away figure too. I really wanted that. I just couldn't spend so much money, but they had some good stuff. I saw him and I was confused. I was like, that's Quick Kick, but I don't know what's up with his white pants. You know what I mean? I was like, what is this? Some sort of Storm Shadow thing? I didn't know, because I recognized Storm Shadow from the waist down, but I just was thrown off by Quick Kick being from the waist up. And so I'd asked him if I could see it, and I was like, what is this? And he was like, oh, somebody the legs broke, because I remember my original Quick Kick, this fool's knees where you could do this, and he would just
super quick kicking.
Yeah, he'd be running. So yeah, so whoever owned this before, they changed the O-ring out and they put on the Storm Shadow bottom, and he looks kind of cool. So he was only $10. I was like, and I'll grab him, and I ended up changing his O-ring anyways, because they use like these longer ones sometimes where like you can like really pull them open, and I don't like that. Now these guys, I can't remember their names. That's the weird thing. Like there's the Joe catalog is so expansive, like, and there's so many different variations of everybody too. Like there's like different, like there's the Viper ones, and then there's the Python patrols, and just all this other weird shit.
Well, from what I remember from the toys that made us, like it was the original, like for boys, Barbies.
Yeah.
So
like,
they were having to like come out with.
That was the original.
Yes, where they're like literally like Barbie
12
size.
inches, right. This though, same concept, and this is what they do today too, because it's easier, it's cheaper. It's kind of like when you're printing shoes.
There's like 1,000 Batmans.
Right, and well, that's a little bit different, but like what I'm talking about is like repaints.
That's what I mean. Like, here's the glow in the dark. Here's the one that's made into a scuba guy.
Here's the Jokerized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, like the old Batman stuff.
That's what I mean.
Not the new ones. Because McFarlane does like good shit where they're all molded different, and they're all from different stories.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is like 90s.
Where it's like, here's Pink Flash on him
It's Michael
now.
Keaton Batman in every color of the rainbow with every accessory you can think of.
Yeah.
And that's how the Joes are too. Especially like the Cobra side, like they're all like very similar and also very different and stuff like that. But I don't remember his name. Like I had already looked everything up and I just forgot them. I was gonna be like, oh, I'll be extra nerdy, and it's like, nah. I liked how he looked. I thought he was dope as reminds me of a different character that I had that I still can't find yet. But I'm still looking for him. He's like a purple and a yellow villain. And he come with a backpack helicopter thing. But anyways, this guy is badass. And then I got this Viper guy too. And this guy is probably one of my favorite pickups that I've gotten as far as like the Joe stuff. This guy's like accessories are nuts. He's got just all kinds of cool stuff, and you can pull them off and like actually like use them as weapons and shit. Now, I also got this Gargoyles. Apparently, there's going to be a live-action Disney Plus show.
Okay.
So, don't look like that. I'm excited.
I don't know.
You don't like the show?
I like the show just fine. If you guys go back a couple episodes, I enjoy animation so much better when it comes to these things.
She cannot suspend her disbelief.
I don't know if you're going to be able to pull this off, Disney Plus.
As long as they look good and the stories are right.
I don't know.
I'm excited. If it's trash, then at least the cartoon still exists, so it is what it is. NECA, which you guys know I'm a big fan of, makes incredible figures, man. I have all the original characters up there in the original action figures. Maybe I'll show them one day, but they're all like new in box, including Elise here. Or it's not Elise, it's Elisa. Sorry, I always call her Elise. You know, I saw her at Target and I was like, oh. And then I hate what they do though, is that they like includes Brooklyn's closed wings. I'm like, you bastards, why don't you, I don't know, put that with the Brooklyn figure, you know what I mean? Because like the wings, I have all of these so far except for Lexington. Lexington's the only one that I have not seen yet. Half of them I haven't opened. They're still in boxes like literally right in front of me because their wingspan are so, like, I'm not kidding, they're like this big. They're like, what, like 2 feet?
Well, they're gargoyles.
I know, they're awesome.
Supposed to put fear in your heart.
They're so awesome. They're like 7-inch scale with massive wings. I have nowhere to put that. Like you can't even fit that on a shelf. It's crazy. So like why they didn't come with the closed wings, which is how they are usually, I have no idea, but they've been doing this where they like package it in a different package. I don't know why they would think that nobody would want her, but she's awesome. Like she's a great character. And then last but not least, speaking of McFarlane, we got some superpowers action right here. We got the Batmobile reissue. This is cool. This was actually at that comic shop in St. George. They had the original one with Batman and Robin in the cockpits. This did not come with either of them, just like the original didn't. You have to buy them separately. I haven't found these versions of the characters yet, but I will one day. So I found this at Walmart, and I mean, if you know me, this is my shit here. Like I absolutely love it. All right, so this is Jodi's Corner, and what are we going to learn today?
Well, today's fun stuff is inspired by you.
Like the viewer or me?
No, by you, Chris.
Why?
You said that you wanted something that would kind of...
a little spicy.
A little spicy. And so I decided to go, and you guys, as in like the audience, I learned so much stuff in the last couple weeks because people like were like, oh, you should look into this. My dad even sent me something. So I learned
that's cool.
all kinds of weird things. So much so that I was just like, but what do I want to speak about? And I kind of wanted to stay in this Halloween October theme now that we're actually in October. I decided to go and look up scary movies to see if any of them were like inspired by true events so that I could go there.
Yeah.
And I was going down the list.
For it to be this spicy.
I was going down the list and there was one that spoke to me because it is your childhood fear.
Jaws?
Yes.
Oh.
So Jaws was inspired by a true event.
There was really a killer shark?
In 1916.
That attacked people on purpose?
In New Jersey.
Really?
Yes.
Where did the movie take place?
Well, I did.
Was
Why
it
do you
fictional?
do this to me?
What do you mean?
I haven't watched Jaws in quite some time, so I can't, and I didn't go and look past it.
Let me look it up real quick then.
Jaws telling me, or this article saying Jaws was inspired by true events.
Amity Island in Jaws is a fictional beach town located off the coast of Long Island, New York.
Okay.
In the novel, but in the movie, it was filmed at Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts.
The same area.
Yes, so close to Jersey, that's what I was wondering is like, oh, if it was inspired by this, did they try to recreate that vibe? The decision to film in Martha's Vineyard was due to its demographics and less crowded nature, making it easier to shoot on location and in the water. This is per ScreenRant.com.
Okay.
So yeah, that's interesting.
The information that I pulled from was Wikipedia, and then my kids, both our daughter and our son just recently got into these, but our daughter from way back when,
I Survived.
She collected the I Survived books, which again, you said you wanted like survival type things. So I was like, okay, I'm going to meet you there. I got this. So yes, so that's the thing. I'm going to talk about some ages, and there is a little bit of discrepancy.
Ages of humans?
Okay. Where they're off by a couple years, and I'm kind of like, well, I feel like the author of this book would have done their due diligence, but like they weren't quite matching.
Well, I'm sure this wasn't written in a time where there was the internet.
I Survived?
Oh no, I'm talking about Jaws.
Oh, well,
I'm talking about the
I'm
I
talking
Survived
about
story?
like, yeah, like I literally, that's why he like came downstairs and I'm like covering everything because I'm sitting there between Wikipedia and this children's book because they did have facts in there.
Okay.
But they
I
were
thought
just...
we were talking about Jaws.
No. So like, you can throw Jaws out the window now. Jaws was just
That's the only reason why I'm interested.
Point for this. So in 1916 in New Jersey, in the span of 12 days, 5 people were attacked and only 1 person survived.
For real?
Yes.
Did they get eaten?
Some body parts went missing.
Okay. This is by a great white?
Well...
They don't know what kind of shark it was?
Well...
Are great whites even over on the East Coast?
Yes.
It's not too cold?
They have like swimming patterns.
I know, but it's not too cold.
So I welcome your questions when you have them, but I do have to kind of go in somewhat of an order. So I might be like, hold on, I'm going to get there. Okay. So before we even get to 1916, we're going to go back. And prior to this event, sharks were thought of as tame creatures that you could see out in the wild with jaws that were too weak to do any real damage to a human.
What year was that?
This is prior to 1916. They didn't have like marine biologists. They didn't have these like exploring scuba divers.
There were fishermen though.
Yes.
Okay, and so that I assume that they would either see or accidentally catch things.
Yes. But like there was none of this. It wasn't today. We're going to go back to 1891 first. There was this multimillionaire, or a tycoon, as they were saying, named Herman Ulrichs, who made a very big deal about how unthreatening sharks were. And in front of a ton of people, he's like on his mega yacht or whatever.
Is this like those fools that put their head in the alligator?
He has the boat go basically on top of a school of sharks, although I don't know if sharks are in schools, but basically there was like a ton of them. You look over the edge of your boat, there's just a mass sharks everywhere. This man makes a huge spectacle of himself and dives headfirst into the sharks.
What a dumbass. Did he die that day?
And starts splashing around like crazy, trying to get these sharks to attack him because he was adamant that...
They were docile.
Yeah, sharks don't attack humans. Nothing happened to him. The sharks swam away from him. And so then he made this huge thing where he challenged people to come up with one human being who has actually been attacked by a shark, and he would pay them $500. So this was in 1891. He died in 1906, and nobody up on that side of the US was ever attacked until 1916. So this brings us to our story. The first attack happened July 1st. The Jersey Shore has tons of people rushing to the coast because not only is there a polio pandemic, but also it's like a crazy heat wave. It's 105 degrees. It's gross. The first victim is, again, discrepancy. He is either 25 or 28, and his name is Charles Van Sant, and his family is staying at a beach resort in Beach Haven. He decided to go for a quick swim prior to dinner, and as he's going out to the ocean, he runs into this dog.
Am I allowed to drink while you're talking?
Sure. So him and the dog go out into about chest deep water, and he's swimming around, which I guess is a big no-no. So here's where I'm going to give you some shark tips. You should always swim in a group. You should not go out solo because there's like power in numbers here. Shark is more likely not to attack a group. Like they want somebody weak looking. You should always avoid swimming at night or dusk. You should never have jewelry on because the light like makes you more enticing and like, ooh, what's over there? Obviously, you should not swim if you have a bleeding wound.
I thought that was a fake fact.
The blood?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was still in there while I was looking things up.
Really? I swear that recently I heard that that was like not actually true.
Well, this was the one that I thought was interesting is you should not take a dog out with you. Because
Why?
the way that their paws move in the water, it's this weird whirling motion, and it calls sharks to them. So back to Charles, who is now out in the water with this dog that he just met. It wasn't even his dog? It was not his dog. There's a ton of people on the beach just enjoying the breeze. So there's like an audience out there.
Did you happen to say what time of day it was?
It's right before dinner. So
okay, so it's in the evening.
Yes, so
okay.
like it could be dusk. I'm not quite sure. They didn't have a timestamp for it. But reports say that all of a sudden they hear the man, but they think he's just calling to his dog. Like they don't realize he's screaming for help. They think he's yelling to his dog to like come out. Mm-hmm. A lifeguard and a bystander end up running out to help him get out of the water. And the shark like stayed with them as they're dragging this guy out.
Do we know what kind of shark it was?
You're gonna have to wait till the ending there.
Okay. This is spicy just from suspense.
I know. He ended up bleeding out on the manager's desk.
Where was he bit? Do we know that? Like, was his legs ripped off, or like was it a torso bite? Is an arm?
This one doesn't say how he was bit exactly.
Okay.
The next guy does.
Okay.
But so this guy ends up bleeding out on the manager's desk inside of the hotel. He is the very first fatal shark attack ever recorded in the northern eastern shore of the U.S.
Okay.
The next attack happened 6 days later, and it's 45 miles north. So we're moving up the coast now.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Do they know if this is the same shark?
They don't know. There was fishermen who did note after things were happening, like, hey, there was a lot more activity. Like we saw, so like, again, like, was it weather related? Like, but there was...
Well, actually, if there was a heat wave...
Yeah, so like...
That's what yeah. Usually, like, I know that they have their migration patterns, but like...
Yeah, but again, it's also like, this is 1916. Like, there's not a great way of communicating all of these different facts. Plus, like, people are like...
They probably didn't even know yet.
People are also being like, sharks don't attack. Those are just big fish. Like, that's their mindset. Like, sharks have weak jaws again. Like... It's not a thing.
They were a little off on that one.
Okay, so 6 days later, 45 miles north in Spring Lake, New Jersey, Charles Bruder.
Spring Lake?
Yes, that's the name.
But this is the ocean.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
Man, are you in for a treat? Anyways.
Oh no, was this a freshwater attack?
No, we're still out in the ocean.
Okay.
Charles Bruder, either age 27 or 28, was swimming 130 yards from shore.
What was his name? His name was Charles too?
Yeah.
What is this?
It's a popular name.
Okay. Maybe, I guess back then.
He's 130 yards from shore when the shark bit him in the abdomen, and rips off both of his legs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There was so much blood that it was originally reported by a lady. Hey, it looks like there's a canoe capsized, a red canoe. You might want to go check on that guy. That's how, like, solid blood there is spilling out of him.
He lives? No. Oh, okay. I was like, there's no way because your arteries are like, your main arteries are down there.
2 lifeguards jump in a boat, paddle out to him, and pull him in the boat prior to him dying. Before he dies, he's able to tell them, I'm going to give you a quote. "He was a big gray fellow, rough as sandpaper. I didn't see him until he struck me the first time. That was when I yelled. I thought he had gone on, but he only turned and shot back at me. Snipped my left leg off. He yanked me clear under before he let go. He came back at me and shook me like a terrier shakes a rat."
This guy was able to say all this before he died?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like in the boat as they're like trying to get him back to shore.
Wow, that's crazy.
So the last 3 attacks all happen on July 12th. 30 miles north in Matawan Creek. This is where you can get shocked. A creek?
How many days?
It's 12 days total. So July 1st, July 6th, July 12th. This creek runs off from Raritan. I'm sorry if I'm saying things wrong. Raritan Bay. The creek is about 16 miles inland from the ocean. So like it's ocean, picture Monterey Bay, and
So
then
is it still presumably
we're now in
saltwater?
We're now in freshwater.
Oh man.
Yeah. A sea captain named Thomas Cottrell reported seeing an 8-foot shark in the creek, and the whole town dismissed him because no one thought a shark would be that far inland.
That is actually believable. The whole thing about they got weak jaws. Like, how are you gonna say something like that without knowing?
The only thing I can think of is like I can't remember if it's alligators or crocodiles or maybe it's both. Where yes, they have like a huge snapping thing, but if you can keep like they brought those animals to my school in elementary school, and they showed all you have to do is put pressure on the end of their nose and they can't open it.
But when you look at an alligator's teeth,
Yeah.
you know that fool don't eat lettuce.
Yes.
If you just seen a shark's tooth, even in the 1800s, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like it takes a genius to be like, maybe he can some
Yeah. At 2 o'clock, a group of boys went into the creek to swim, bringing along their dog.
How old are they?
They're young. They saw that.
I don't know if I want to hear this part.
They saw what they thought was just a weathered log in the creek. They realized that it is not when all of a sudden a dorsal fin appears.
Man.
This is when the 3rd victim is taken. It's 11-year-old Lester Stillwell. As the kids were all trying to climb up out of the creek, Lester was pulled under. The kids all run into town to like get adults who can help them. And even then, the adults don't believe them. They think the kid had a seizure. And so they're like coming back being like, oh, we'll get the body out for you guys.
Why do adults suck so bad?
I don't know.
Gosh.
I don't know. So this is when 24-year-old Watson Stanley Fisher found the boy, and as he's trying to swim back to shore with the body, he's then attacked by the shark. They were able to get both...
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm scared.
Yeah. They were able to get both Watson and Lester's body out of the water, but Watson, the adult, bleeds out on his way to the hospital.
That fool got bit too?
Yes. He's like trying to get the boy, and then all of a sudden everybody sees like, oh my gosh, these kids weren't full of it. There is a shark in our creek. The final victim, and again, it's all on the same day.
Wait, so these last bunch are in one day?
Yes, all on the 12th.
And this is the same shark?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. The final victim and only survivor is 14-year-old Joseph Dunn. He was attacked just 30 minutes after the last 2 victims and only half a mile up the river or creek.
But none of them are eaten.
No.
They're bit.
They're like chunks. I mean, I don't know where that one guy's legs went.
Well, some fish probably ate it, but like,
So, and they didn't describe what the boy looked like when he was found.
Just because, like, I know that we know this now.
Yes.
Is that, like, because of the splashing, it's attracting.
Yeah. It's
like,
not that they're actually, like, craving humans.
Right.
They're actually looking for something else. And then they realize, but that one shark went after the guy
because
multiple
he's splashing
times.
around, though.
Well, I would be too if I had just been bit by a shark.
No, I know. I'm just saying though, like this is where like stories like are wild and exaggerated. It's how they happen.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because like your imagination starts to go.
Right. Anyways, Joseph Dunn is in the water with his brother and his friend. Joseph sees the shark coming at him, and so they all start screaming and getting out. But they're not just like on the side of a creek. They're at an actual dock. And so the brother gets out, the friend gets out. While Joseph's trying to get out, he's the last one. The shark comes up and grabs him by his leg.
Yo, did they see that though?
It was a full-on tug-of-war.
No real?
Yes. And
do we know what kind of shark this one is?
hold on, babe, hold on. Joseph is quoted as saying, I believed it would have swallowed me. He could literally feel his leg going down the shark's throat. He ended up spending just over 1 month in the hospital to recover. That was something that I didn't go into, but the people who did describe where their legs were still intact, including this kid, like, it was stripped down to the bone. Like
the flesh was ripped off?
Yeah, the muscle, everything.
So they amputated, I assume.
So in the I Survive books, they put a fictional character in there to carry you through it. And the fictional character was this kid, Joseph Dunn. They just changed his name, obviously. And he talks about how, like, the cleaning of it and everything. And so he did end up getting to keep his leg, but, like, he had to walk with a limp. So I was imagining only, like, part of, you guys can't see my leg, but part of his calf muscle was gone.
Okay.
It took till the last attacks for real action to start. Originally, the first attack was blamed on the man for taking that dog out with him. After the second attack, the general public basically stopped going to the beach. New Jersey saw a 75% dip in tourism, and it cost resort owners $250,000, which would be almost $7 million today.
That's crazy.
Resort owners started installing netted fences out in the water. Like, that was their answer.
I mean, they still use that now.
Is there netting? I just thought they were buoys being like, don't swim past this, boats don't come in on this side.
Oh, hell no.
I didn't know there was a net out there.
Yeah, there's nets.
Okay. Here's some answers for you as far as the sharks and stuff goes. So on July 14th, a fisherman caught a 325-pound great white while fishing in the bay. The Rotawan Bay, I think it was called.
We're still in New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay.
We never leave New Jersey.
Okay.
He claimed it almost sank his boat trying to get this shark into it. And they described this as I don't think the word was youth, but it wasn't an adult shark,
that was a small one?
Which is nuts. 325 pounds. And he had to use a broken oar to kill the shark, to, like, get it to stop flopping around.
Was he in a little boat?
I don't know. There wasn't a picture of that. When he opened the shark up, he found 15 pounds worth of human remains. So basically,
What?
Everyone breathed like this giant sigh of relief, being like, cool, we caught the monster, like, we're good. But there are skeptics. People say there was no way to prove that those human remains were of the 5 victims.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. There wasn't even DNA back then. Like, there was no way to know.
Right. And again, we talked about, like, their swim patterns.
Yeah.
And World War I is happening at this time. And so
okay.
they were saying, like, these could just be our soldiers who died.
They could just have eaten them and come in.
Yeah, so they're kind of like, These same skeptics say it's much more likely that either a sea turtle or a bull shark is to blame for the New Jersey attacks.
Why a turtle?
Sea turtles because, and this is a quote, these creatures are of a vicious disposition and when annoyed are extremely dangerous to approach, and it is a common theory that Bruder, who was the second victim, but that's the thing, he actually was able to, like, talk about textures and things, may have disturbed one while it was asleep on or close to the surface.
I don't think that's a factual, like, I don't think sea turtles are aggressive.
Bull sharks have actually been found up to 90 miles inland and they're able to be in freshwater. So it was more likely that.
In the lake, or I mean in the creek.
Yes.
I do not trust that.
I know, he doesn't. They did do some things, though, like the town where the creek had happened, they ended up putting dynamite, basically blowing everything up, trying to find this shark, and they couldn't.
So you know that I'm afraid of sharks, but I don't know if you know that I was also fascinated by sharks.
Did you have a shark tooth necklace?
I did. And I would buy and read lots of shark books. Just hearing that one story out of the many that you just told, of the attack, the specific attack.
Oh, I know. So you enjoy the survivor out of all of it.
Yeah, because hearing about the little boy, like, that makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
And so, like, that one and his friends and stuff.
And that nobody believed him.
Yeah, so I just find it interesting, I guess. And I know that I laugh about it and stuff too, but, like, I don't mean it, like, disrespectfully or anything.
No. It's like a
knee-jerk reaction.
I was going to say that, but, like, your body, everybody's body handles different information differently. And some people, our daughter does it. Like, they go into, like, a little, like, I can't believe this. I'm just going to, like, laugh to get this weird feeling out of me. But with all of that, we should wrap this up because...
Oh, that's time. We got to go.
Yeah, we got to go pick up our kid.
So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed. We hope that this is fun. We apologize for taking a break, but I think we're allowed to.
Yeah.
You know, we have lives, and they're not just spent in front of these cameras. So thank you so much. We will catch you guys on the next one. Leave thoughts on everything that you heard and talked about, anything from the sneaker news to the Timeout to the Reebok thing to Skechers and the shoe we didn't review and stuff like that. Just
Sharks.
let us know. Yeah, sharks, all this. So yeah, just have fun with it. That's all this is about. And thank you. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Peace.